Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome dear students. I hope you are all doing well. So dear students, today we will solve the exercise of Unit 3, which is a poem Dreams by Langston Hughes. So first of all, here we have glossary. Hold fast means hold something tightly and firmly. Barren, of land, too poor to produce much or any vegetation. Field, an area of open land, especially one planted with crops or pasture, typically bounded by hedges or fences. Frozen, having turned into ice as a result of extreme cold. So now dear students, here is the exercise comprehension and the total questions are 8. Answer the following questions. First question is, what is the theme of the poem? The second one is, how important do you think dreams are? Explain. Number third is, identify an example of a word or phrase that is repeated in the poem and explain why the poet makes this repetition. Question 4 is, identify an example of personification. Explain what is being personified and how. Number 5 is, identify lines containing metaphors. What ideas are being conveyed by these metaphors? Number 6 is, list the alliterative words from the poem Dream. Number 7, how is imagery used in this poem? Number 8 is, what is the mood of this poem? How does it make you feel? So dear students, I will provide you answers for these questions in PPTs. And now exercise B, write the correct option in following statement. Number 1, the phrase hold fast to dreams means A, don't do anything, just dream day and night. B, daydreaming is good for health. C, dreaming will make your holding power strong. D, stick fast to your ambition in life. So the correct answer is stick fast to your ambition in life. The phrase hold fast to dreams means stick fast to your ambition in life. Now question 2 is, in the line, life is a broken winged bird, the poet uses technique of A, metaphor, B, personification, C, simile, and D, repetition. So the correct answer is metaphor, A, metaphor. Now question 3 is, life is a barren field. In this line, the phrase a barren field is A, simile, B, metaphor, C, personification, D, alliteration. So the correct answer is metaphor. Life is a barren field. In this line, the phrase a barren field is a metaphor. Question number 4 is, according to the poet, life without dream is A, hollow and bleak, B, lush and hopeful, C, dynamic and productive, D, passionate and optimistic. So the correct answer is A, hollow and bleak. Hollow here means empty and bleak means dark, or in Urdu we call it tariq. Question 5 is, according to dreams, what will happen if our dreams die? A, life will be easier to handle. B, life will appear as it is. C, life will continue as normal. D, life will be hopeless. So the correct answer is D, life will be hopeless. According to dreams, what will happen if our dreams die? Life will become hopeless. Now, dear students, on page 26, we have grammar, transitive and intransitive verb. A. Do as directed. So, first of all, the definition for transitive is a verb which require an object to complete its sense, or a verb that transfers action. And the definition for intransitive verb is a verb which does not require an object to complete its sense, or a verb that does not transfer an action. So the first question is, choose the sentence that does not have an intransitive verb. A. I jog. B. The child gurgles. C. I watched a movie. D. She sobs. So the correct option is I watched a movie. So here I is subject, watched is verb, and movie is the object. Question 2. Choose the sentence that does not have a transitive verb. A. He presented a bouquet. B. He waved his arm. C. She understood my question. D. She laughed heartily. So the correct option is she laughed heartily. 3. Choose the sentence that does not have a transitive verb. A. We showed her the flower vase. B. The grocer is selling vegetables. C. The birds are flying. D. The coach advised me to practice daily. So the correct option here is C. The birds are flying, because it has an intransitive verb. Number 4 is, choose the sentence that does not have an intransitive verb. A. The customer is buying this afternoon. B. The customer is buying pancakes. C. They were crying all day long. D. She helped me. So the correct option is D. She helped me. Number 5 is, choose the sentence that does not have a transitive verb. A. She cut the cake. B. They climbed the hill. C. Arman telephoned Tariq. D. Asma shouted in the class. So the correct option here is Asma shouted in the class. Number 6 is, choose the sentence that does not have an intransitive verb. So here are 4 options. A. The student is answering questions. B. Akbar is jogging at this moment. C. She sleeps too much. D. He complains frequently. So the correct option here is the student is answering the question. Now exercise B. Pick out 5 transitive and 5 intransitive verbs from the unit The Champions. So now this is your task, dear students. You will have to pick out 5 transitive and 5 intransitive verbs from the chapter The Champions. Now present participle or past participle. So dear students, a simple definition for present participle is that the ing form of verb is called present participle. For example, a verb plus ing, it is called a present participle. For example, we have a verb cook. If we add ing at the end of the verb, it will be cooking. So this is the present participle. Now the past participle. Past participle, a third form of verb in which verb include ed at the end is called a past participle. For example, if we have a verb achieve and if we add id at the end of the verb achieve, it will be achieved. So this will be the past participle, or this is the past participle. Now A, the verb, write the verb in parentheses in the correct form, present participle or past participle. So here are some sentences. 1. Here is a blank. Prepared by the best cook in town, the meal was sheer poetry. So in this blank you will write prepared. It's a past participle. Prepared by the best cook in town, the meal was sheer poetry. Number 2 is after. Here is a blank. Study. This is the parenthesis. Study all day. Her head was aching in the evening. So in this blank we will write a present participle, which is studying. After studying all day, her head was aching in the evening. Number 3 is, here is a dash. This is the first form of verb. Lie on the sofa, they were watching TV. So the correct form of verb we will use here is lying. A present form, present participle. Lying on the sofa, they were watching TV. For everybody was, here in parentheses it is written as shocked to hear the news. So everybody was shocked. The third form of verb will be used here, to hear the news. Everybody was shocked to hear the news. Fifth is before. Here is a dash, a blank. Leave the house. I always check if all lights are switched off. So in the blank we will write a present participle. Before leaving the house, I always check if all lights are switched off. Now we have exercise B. Combine the following pairs of sentences by using participles present or past. The first one has been done. So here is an example, and the students, here are two sentences and we will have to combine the sentences using participles, either present or past. So here is an example. We met a boy. He was carrying a heavy bag. We met a boy carrying a heavy bag. 2. The house was decorated with lights. It looked beautiful. So when we combine both the sentences, it will be the house decorated with lights looked beautiful. The house decorated with lights looked beautiful. 3. The robbers saw the policeman. They ran away. So the combined form of this sentence will be: seeing the policeman, the robbers ran away. Seeing the policeman, the robbers ran away. For I found the door open, I went inside. So the combined sentence or the combined form of this sentence will be finding the door open, I went inside. Finding the door open, I went inside. Number 5 is the police saw the body, it was floating down the river. So the combined form of this sentence will be the police saw the body floating down the river. The police saw the body floating down the river. So dear students, on page 28 we have the clause. A simple definition of clause is a group of words that contains a verb and usually other components too. A clause may form part of a sentence or it may be a complete sentence in itself. So clauses come in 3 types: main or independent, subordinate or independent, relative or adjective, and noun. Every clause has at least a subject and a verb. Main clauses. Every main clause will follow this pattern: subject plus verb, complete thought. For example, lazy students always complain. So here students is subject, complain is verb. Another example, water spilled over the glass and splashed onto the counter. So here water is the subject and spill and splash are verbs. My cat loves milk. In this sentence, cat is the subject and loves is the verb. The important point to remember is that every sentence must have at least one main clause. Subordinate clauses. A subordinate clause will follow this pattern: subordinate conjunction plus subject plus verb, incomplete thought. Examples are whenever lazy students complain. Whenever here is subordinate conjunction, students here is the subject and complain is the verb. As water spilled over the glass and splashed onto the counter. So here as is the subordinate conjunction, water is the subject, spilled, splashed are the verbs. Because my cat loves milk. So here because is subordinate conjunction, cat is the subject and loves is verb. So dear students, a subordinate clause depends on a main clause for its meaning. Together with a main clause, a subordinate clause forms part of a complex sentence. Now, the important point to remember about subordinate clauses is that they never stand alone as complete sentences. To complete the thought, you must attach each subordinate clause to a main clause. Generally, the punctuation looks like this: main clause plus no punctuation, for example, comma, plus subordinate clause. Subordinate clause plus punctuation, comma, plus main clause. Here are the examples. Whenever lazy students complain, Mrs. Ramesh throws chalk erasers at their heads. Amir ran for the paper towels as water spilled over the glass and splashed onto the counter. Because my cat loves milk, she never catches rats. So all these are subordinate clauses. Now, relative clauses. A relative clause will begin with a relative pronoun such as who, whom, whose, which, or that, or a relative adverb. For example, when, where, or why. The patterns look like these: relative pronoun or adverb plus subject plus verb, incomplete thought. Relative pronoun as subject plus verb is equal to incomplete thought. So the thought here will be incomplete. Examples are whom Mrs. Ramesh hit in the head with a chalk eraser. So whom here is a relative pronoun, Mrs. Ramesh is the subject, and the word hit is the verb. That had spilled over the glass and splashed onto the counter. So that here is the relative pronoun, had spilled, splashed are the verbs. Who loves milk? So here who is relative pronoun and loves is the verb. Like subordinate clauses, relative clauses cannot stand alone as complete sentences. You must connect them to main clauses to finish the thought. Look at these revisions of the relative clauses above. The lazy students whom Mrs. Ramesh hit in the head with a chalk eraser soon learned to keep their complaints to themselves. My cat Mano, who loves milk, brings it under the kitchen table where she enjoys it with great enthusiasm. Amir ran to get paper towels for the water that had spilled over the glass and splashed onto the counter. So these are some relative clauses. Now, punctuating. Relative clauses can be tricky. You must decide if the relative clause is essential or non-essential, and then use commas accordingly. Essential relative clauses do not require commas. Remember, essential relative clauses do not require commas. A relative clause is essential when you need the information it provides. The relative clause becomes non-essential and does require commas to separate it from the rest of the sentence. Now, dear students, read the sentences and decide if the words from a dependent, independent, or relative clause. Number 1 is Tahir did his homework before he went to bed. So it is an independent clause. Number 2 is isn't that the woman who lives across the road from you? So this is the relative clause. Here word who is used. This is the relative clause. Okay. Number 3 is because the test was so difficult, none of the students got a very good grade. So this is an independent clause. 4. She is very fit because she goes running every day. This is an dependent clause. The police said the accident that happened last night was unavoidable. So this is an relative clause because here the word that is used. Number 6 is I don't like Mondays. This is a relative clause. Number 7 is have you seen those people who we met on holiday? So this too is a relative clause. Can you tell me why you said that? This is an independent clause. You should not believe everything that you read in the newspaper. So this is a relative clause. Number 10 is if you help me, I will help you. This is an dependent clause. So dear students, with this we came to an end of this chapter, the poem Dreams, and I hope you all will understand the lecture, the exercise, and I will provide the answers in PPTs. Okay dear students, take care. Allah Hafiz.